Got it. Excellent. You mentioned something which again caught my attention, and since we would be transitioning into investing, you said it's important to keep yourself differentiated as an investor and build a brand. Could you shed some more light? Like, how does this why is this so important as an investor, um, and how is this adding value to keep yourself differentiated?
Well, the idea as an investor is one, you want access to sort of the highest quality deals. Second is that the highest quality deals need to choose you. And the highest quality deals might not always be the most popular with investors. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But you need to either find them or they need to find you. And two, they need to choose you to be on the cap table, right? So because of that, that's something that doesn't happen in public markets. In public markets, you just go and put money into company X. They don't really know or care who you are. Whereas in early stage, that's not how it works. And especially at seed and pre-seed, where there aren't really a ton of established traction metrics that sort of everyone is chasing. So once you get to Series A, Series B, there's only certain small set of companies that are out there, whereas the funnel is massive at pre-seed and seed. So there needs to be an avenue for these companies to come find you, or some sort of mechanism for you to go find them. Traditionally, the way it's worked in venture is you have this massive network of both other investors and founders, and they essentially identify and source deals for you. Now, that's great especially if you were early into venture. If you've been here since the early 2000s or sort of the mid 2000s, you've probably, if you were a good investor, you've built up a pretty good brand, and so founders know who you are and they've seek you out. If you're trying to get into investing today, the pool of investors is significantly larger. Even with sort of the new macro reality and capital being a bit more scarce, there still is a very large pool of investors. So if a new founder who's just sort of had an idea and he's created his company in the last 6 months, if he wants to go out and source new investors, how's he going to do it? He's going to make a list of essentially brand name investors. He's going to ask people he knows. So essentially, it's going to come down to brand or network. And if you're trying to build a brand for yourself, it needs to be unique in some way, shape, or form. What makes you different? And it's very, very hard to be different today if you're a new investor who's a generalist. So it's always best to, at least at the start, carve out a niche for yourself. Personally, I'm a big believer that at pre-seed and seed in particular, specialist investors help because they're not just there and making introductions. They're actually helping you with key decision points with product and with growth. It's not that generalist investors can't do that. It's just specialist investors can really help. So Point9 Capital in Europe is a great example, right? They've managed to build a great brand with SaaS, and they genuinely are helpful. And they have that brand. So if you're a SaaS investor, the first name you would have on your list is Point9 Capital. Speed Invest has made a good name for themselves by having sort of specialized teams within. They've got a deep tech team, they've got a marketplaces and consumer team. So one of the first names you would have as one of the first fund names you would have as a marketplace founder would be Speed Invest. There's not a ton of specialist investors there. And so that goes for whether you're an angel or whether you're a fund. Having a very defined brand, that something that founders can associate you with, this is why you're the right investor for me, is exceptionally important.
Got it. So I was listening to this conversation with Deepali, which I think Timo was having, or you on one of them. So we have a Upskillers as a podcast, which we plan to revive it as well. So Deepali was saying capital is a commodity. Everybody can give capital. What founders are looking for, not just money. They want the right investors at the right time. And I think this is what you are hinting at, because if you are known as somebody who has a certain expertise that can add value massively to that team, then the deals would automatically come to you. It becomes easier, isn't it?
Yeah, and also when the deals come to you, you're not sort of fighting for allocations. Like your allocation is secure. Other investors are fighting it out among themselves.
Oh, that's also valuable, isn't it? Oh, okay. So So your deal is secured because they want you badly. It's not like on the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because because you bring very specific value, whereas some other investors might not. They might have a certain sort of generalized brand, but they're not really sure what value add they bring. And so, if they were going to have a commitment fight it out, it would probably be there.
Got it. I was looking. I was watching Shark Tank of India. You know the Indian variant, right?
I've come across it.
And that's where when there is a really good startup and then there is this panelists, they would fight because then they would start branding themselves that, you know what, I'm gonna make the right connections for you, or I'm gonna help you create that brand. And I think this is what now I can make the connections, because each investor also needs to sell himself on what he can bring
Yeah.
to the table, especially when the cap table, when you're competing for that equity,
Yeah,
isn't it?
correct. Yeah, because even in this market, you do see oversubscribed deals, and when that happens, it's not the investors with the clearest value add are tend to be the most secure on the cap table.
Nice, excellent. This is aha moment for me.